Well, hello, Instagram, and hello, Facebook. We are live for day 3. Hi, Rachel, of our Design Your Diet Challenge. People joining in right away. This makes me so happy. Facebook says I'm live. There we go. I can see my face now. Someone on Facebook, please leave a comment so I know it's working. Hi, Gina. I like the wave on Instagram, the little hand. I definitely feel like you're waving at me, Gina. Just lining things up while I get super psyched for a day of yes. A day of yes, 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 please. Oh, wait, today is the yes list day, isn't it? I just had a moment where I was like, a couple times in the planning of this, I switched around day 3 and day 4. Whether you like it or not, today is your yes list day for our challenge. Yesterday, we talked about where our non-negotiables are, where we draw the line, where we have a boundary. Yes, it's our yes list day. Phew. I just have to check my own list in Facebook, my own thing. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for being here and for participating in the whole challenge. I am ready for some yeses. If you're ready for some yeses, we drew boundaries yesterday. How good does that feel to say like, hey, sugar, hey, dairy, hey, caffeine, hey, thing that's holding me back from being my best, doing my best, feeling my best. I'm just going to draw a line in the sand right here. Just a little line. For a period of time, we're talking about 8 weeks as a reasonable period of time to say, I need a break from this thing. Look, we know it's never forever. I think people get caught up on that. Like, I have to say goodbye. I mean, yeah, if you're having an anaphylactic reaction to almonds, like, that's forever, pretty much. And most of us are having just feelings of yuck and funk. So for 8 weeks, we're getting really clear and in high integrity with where our yeses are and where our nos are. And that's going to be how I frame the conversation today around the yes. Look, my new favorite thing to say to everyone, good morning. Hi, Kelly. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for participating. The more you chime in, the better this goes. So say yes, say give a heart, give a like, say I'm here, say I've got this, raise your hand, all of those things when you hear something you like. You don't have to do it right now in this very moment. When you hear something that resonates, right? And remember that your word, your spoken word and your written word is much more powerful than your thoughts. We create our reality with our thoughts, and then it starts with our thoughts, and then we create it with our words and our actions. Yes? My favorite thing to say lately is the law of attraction is not magic, it's science. It's being proven now that we need a vision. The brain requires a vision in order to step into what's next, in order to open doors to that thing. We do need to be clear on where we're going in order to get there. Right? Hi, Sylvia. I'm thrilled you're here. I'm glad that this is inspiring to you too. So we're focusing on those yeses today. Day 3 of our Design Your Diet Challenge. This is the lead into transformation. Whether you do my group program or not, I'm asking you to invest in yourself and take advantage of the information coming your way. It's not going to stop. Tomorrow we're talking liquid gold. I'm going to show you how I make the liquid gold herbal infusion that I believe in so much that when you join my group program, I ship you an 8-week supply of it directly to your door so you can drink it every day of transformation. I'll show you that tomorrow. We'll talk about liquids in general tomorrow. We've really been focused on the food, but oh my, are the liquids not important? Say yes if you know how important the liquids that we're taking in and the liquids that we want to remove. Those yeses and those nos will be for your transformation this fall. Then on Friday, you don't want to miss Friday. That's my cooking demo. I'm going to be in the kitchen showing you how I prep, how I make it happen day in and day out with my plug and play method and whipping up a lunch for myself on camera so you can see in real time how I do it with my yes list. You'll get to do it with your yes list. Cart will open on transformation tomorrow. You can join the wait list at the link in my bio if you're on Instagram, or right here in this video if you're on Facebook. And if you want to check out the details of what's included in the program, now's a good time to do it. Tomorrow we open the cart. The first 3 to register will get genuine gemstone bracelets designed for the new school kitchen by my friend Danny at Spiritual Junkies, shipped directly to your door too with your liquid gold herbs. I'm real into the like open a package at home thing, right? I love that I can offer these digital products that you can take advantage of my work online digitally using the NSK app. And I still think it's fun to get a package or go to a class. And since we can't see each other in person, I'm going to send you little presents in the mail when you take part in transformation. Okay, let's dive in. We've got a great attendance on Facebook. A bunch of you are on live. Thank you. And we're focused on this document. This document, it's in the Facebook group and it's in my Instagram bio. It's the PDF that if you want to win a scholarship to transformation, full 100% scholarship, you've got to fill this out and post it when I give the prompt at the end of the week to show me your transformation protocol. We are focused on the entire bottom of this today. We are going full force in with our yeses. So you can either print this or get a white piece of paper and take some notes. Listen, here's the thing I want you to understand. You create your reality. And a lot of us understand this in the context of like getting things that we want, or our finances, or relationships, or attracting love to you, or all of these things. And we don't necessarily think of it in the context of health and food. And so I really want to invite you today to embrace the idea that you can focus on yeses with your health to get better. I work with people with chronic illness, with symptoms galore, with all sorts of emotional stuff around food every single day. Every single day. This is what I do every single day. And I will tell you that 100% of people who need help with their food stuff come to me and they can only see what's not working. Anybody relate? They can only see what hurts on their body. They can only see the restrictions that they have with food. They can only feel the feelings of deprivation or resentment or frustration that comes with having food sensitivities, with having, a desire to feel better. Pain speaks loudly, right? There's nothing wrong with any of you. Hi, Dawn, I'm glad you're here. But we get so conditioned. We have a negativity bias in our brain. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. And we get so bogged down by what's not working. The brain loves to figure out what's not working, right? It's like, well, let's just see what's a no here, and let's pick that apart. And let's internalize that. And let's boo-hoo about the no. And the invitation today and every day as a practice, as an intentional practice, is to see your yeses, is to feel where you feel well in your body. I have a condition called chronic inflammatory response syndrome, and that means that my body hurts like a lot, right? I have to do a lot of work to have my body not hurt so much on any given day. And I did yoga last night and I got a good night's sleep and I'm taking care of myself. So today's a pretty good day. And even as I sit in mindfulness meditation, what do I notice first? The pain points. Where's your pain point, right? What is the thing that draws all of your attention? Chime in, write in for me. Is it a physical pain? Is it emotional pain? Is it spiritual pain? What's the thing that every day you're like, oh, I have this condition. Oh, I have to take care of this person, right? Oh, my neck hurts. My back hurts. Yes? Thank you, Dawn. I'm glad I looked radiant today. Is it distracting that you can see the reflection of all the screens in my glasses? I do think it's important to be able to see my eyes. So I will come as close as I can. Dawn is being honest, and she is saying she has emotional pain points. Yes, Dawn, you are not alone, especially these days. The vast majority of people I am working with, myself included, are struggling with anxiety and depression due to the state of the world and the state of everything, right? It's so easy to see what's not working. Look at what a shit show is happening out there in our world, right? And even as we try to get well, it's like everything's working against us. I have to spend $300 on a water filter because the water quality isn't good enough, right? It's like, I would really like to be able to spend some of my money on something fun, but it all goes to taking care of myself. There's my negativity part, going like, meh, right? Why do I have to spend all my money on supplements? I want to go on a fun vacation. So we're focusing on yeses today. You guys are so fun. You're in such a good mood. I'm glad that you're here. As we fill this sheet out. Now, I'm straight up going to just talk about food today. I'm going to name vegetables. I'm going to list proteins. And I need you to chime in, especially those of you that know your way around the kitchen, and give suggestions too to everybody that's on the line that's live, because some people joining this challenge really are at the beginning of understanding nutrient density, real food, eating clean. So we want to inspire today with our yes, yes, yes energy and share away so that we have something to fill out on our sheet. And when we step into our 8-week intentional protocol, October 5, who's starting October 5, whether you're in transformation and you're starting with me or you're starting on your own, I don't care. I want you to start this intentional protocol October 5, saying me if you're in. When you start on October 5, my hope and my wish is that you can hit the grocery store, you can start planning, and you can start cooking with an energy of yes. With an energy of yes. Rachel's in, she says me. With an energy of yes. Here's what I can eat. Here's what I am available for. Here's the commitments I am making to myself. Instead of, all right, I'm starting October 5th and I'm not going to have sugar. And I'm going to have to go to bed early, right? We get so heavy and bogged down by a health protocol. What if we brought this energy of hell yes to the changes that we're going to make? Answer me this, guys. What are you a hell yes to in your life? Tell me one thing that's an easy yes for you. An easy hell yes. Nothing to do with food or your health. An easy hell yes. I'm going to think about mine while I sip my tea. Let's see. I am a hell yes to my new glasses, my blue blockers. I can't tell you, I've never gotten so many compliments on something that I've worn online as I have with these glasses. Like everyone from my mother to someone I went to middle school with and I've never talked to her, like, you need to tell me where you got those glasses. So I will post another link in the group. It's some random ad that popped up on Facebook. Hell yes. Dawn says, let's do this. Hell yes. What are you a hell yes to in your life? Kelly, thank you for chiming in. She's a hell yes to exercise. Anybody else? When they approach exercise, it's not with a hell no, it's with that hell yes energy. Good, Kelly. She's a hell yes to nature. I'm right there with you, girl. That's one of my hell yeses for sure, especially with this cooler weather setting in. If you're in the Southeast region, like many of us are. Sylvia's joining us from South America. What's the weather like there, Sylvia? But nature is so healing, you guys. Honestly, we talked about that nervous system thing in the last 2 days, especially yesterday, how you could be doing everything right with food, but if your nervous system is shot, you need to focus on calming down before wrestling with the sugar, perhaps. Marcy's a hell yes to sleep. I'm glad you're back again. Yeah, the last 2 nights I've been asleep before 10:30, and I feel great. If I could just do this consistently, it's always like I get it and then I don't, I get it and then I don't. But when it happens 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nights in a row, I'm a new person. Usually I'm super anxious before I go live for these things. I'm like spending an hour kind of being snippy with everyone and trying to get focused and little rustled. I went for a walk without my phone, not even knowing what time it was, and just enjoyed the weather with Luca today. Like, that's a hell yes, right? Marcy's a hell yes to sunshine. Yes, Kelly's a hell yes to sleep. So we have hell yeses. You have hell yeses. Let's find them with food now. Let's find your hell yeses with food. Okay, jumping right in. Clean proteins. That's our first category in our intentional eating protocol. What are your yeses? If you're here in your live, you're chiming in. What are your yeses with proteins? And look, I want to start this out while you guys write this by saying, it's really easy to, especially if you have food sensitivities like me and a lot of people who follow me, to get burnt out on like chicken and salmon, and that's it. I just rotate between chicken and turkey and salmon, and I'm sick of it and I'm bored of it. Well, I can't invent new proteins, first of all. There may be some that you're not exploring, right? I don't know, Cornish game hens. Like, there's always other tiers of less popular proteins you can find, especially if you're working with a farmer to get these proteins. But instead of complaining about how bored you are about your proteins, how about this? How about you explore different ways to cook those proteins, different spices to use on those proteins, and different cuts of the protein too. There's a big difference between a steak and a burger, right? Those are 2 different things for most of us, even though they're both beef. Grass-fed beef, ideally. So let's start by talking about what our animal proteins are that are a hell yes. Oh, good, I can see the comments better this way. Dawn says, my home chef just got delivered for this week, but I skipped for the next 4. So yeah, great. So Dawn is being intentional about this food delivery service and saying, okay, let me see if I can rely on me and get in my best space to take care of and nourish myself. Nice job, Dawn. Make sure you report in with us. Kelly, she's sharing her hell yeses on protein, nuts, organic eggs, organic chicken, and grass-fed lean beef like filet mignon. Kelly, can I come eat at your house? Yes, girl. I had a cut of grass-fed New York strip last night, and it just did the job. I had the other half of it for breakfast this morning with some veggies, and I am satiated and happy with some grass-fed beef in my system. I know not everybody eats red meat, and some people get surprised that a health coach does, but I find it deeply nourishing, and all of that iron and B12 works great for me and my body right now. Who knows, one day maybe it won't. I'm encouraging you to make these yes choices, you guys, based on what your body is telling you. It can be easy for us to say, but that documentary I saw told me I should eat Morningstar Farm vegan patties instead of pastured meat. I'm not knocking on my vegan friends. I am knocking on processed food instead of this, but my body likes this better. I need you to be willing to listen to your body here with this conversation for your yeses. The body is the yes. And yes, your heart is part of your body's cues, right? If you really feel that this is an animal cruelty issue for you, I have mad respect for that. And you're going to have to cook yourself some real sausage patties from Tempeh instead of buying the fake stuff. Marcy misses her Texas beef. I'm making an order for some precious grass-fed beef straight from the Texas rancher. Amazing. Look, you guys, you can be intentional about your meat. I buy my beef and my pork directly from a rancher. If you're in the Wilmington area, there are 2 that I love. Hilltop Angus grass-fed. They're in the Triangle area, but they come to Wilmington. And Alchemy Ranch. Alchemy Ranch. That's a female rancher. She's amazing. Chicken, eggs, and beef for Rachel. Good. Very clear. Nuts. Yes. Great, great, great. What if you feel so out of touch with your body? Jen, thank you for being here and asking that question honestly. So here's what's beautiful about an intentional eating protocol. And everybody can listen to this if they feel confused about the listen to your body piece, right? Well, how do I know what my body thinks? I feel like crap all the time, right? So there's like static that's happening all the time. Let's call that your body's cues. They're staticky right now, right? And you're like, I don't know what my body likes, right? When you intentionally take a step away from what might not be working, this typically is less applicable to protein and more applicable to gluten and dairy and grains and soy and for some nuts and eggs when we're talking about the stuff that can really trigger us. When you take a step away intentionally and then reintroduce, you get a pretty clear read. Has anybody ever done that? And that's what we do inside transformation. I get people all the time that are like, I just need to clear the slate so I know what's working and what's not. That's what happens when you do a protocol, right? You take that step back. You take out the processed food and the junk and the sugar, Jen, like anything that's like static, right? Anything that's really making too much noise that we can't hear if we can process beef or not. Take that out, get things cleaned up, get your instrument tuned so that when you eat yourself whatever's in question, sure, let's call it grass-fed beef, you get a really clear read. Now, if anybody says, I love meat, but meat doesn't love me, I don't digest it well, you may be low on stomach acid, hydrochloric acid. Apple cider vinegar can help increase that, or there are supplements to do that too. I have a supplement list coming out as a bonus for those who buy Transformation because I'm super passionate about getting, sometimes you do need supplementation in there to get you up where you need to be. Does that resonate, Jen? Okay, ahi tuna, Gina. Yes, let's not forget about seafood. You want to make it wild. Food quality is important, and I have a whole video and module inside of Transformation about how to source wild. Hi, Lee, I'm glad you're here, but don't forget about seafood. Yes, I had some scallops yesterday. It was like, oh, and you guys, seafood cooks so fast. Talk about fast food, right? You pan-sear a piece of salmon and get a nice crust on the outside and eat that with some sauteed spinach. Like, okay. Simple. A little bit of lemon. Doesn't have to be fancy. I think one thing that we do is we get so attached to food being like this amazing everything pleasure experience. And yes, it can be. And food is functional sometimes, guys. Sometimes it needs to just taste like broccoli with a little bit of salt and butter on it. And man, I enjoyed my broccoli with salt and butter on it today with my steak for breakfast. I know that sounds like dinner, but dinner for breakfast does me right. And when you don't eat eggs and grains, you can't be too picky. Jen is ready to reset and connect with me. And connect is a great word, Jen. Get reconnected to you and what your body's cues are, and really calm the nervous system down enough to be able to feel and receive the nourishment that you're giving yourself. Yeah, great. So we've got so many protein options. Any plant proteins in here? I don't care if you eat animal protein. If you can digest garbanzo beans, anybody? Chickpeas? Then you need to be making socca. I'll post a link to it. SOCCA. It's a chickpea flatbread you make in your cast iron skillet, and it is delightful. My little guy loves it. I will eat it. My husband put tuna on it the other day and made like a tuna salad, open-faced sandwich. It replaces bread in a lot of ways. It's not bread. It's actually protein. It's chickpeas made into a flatbread. But lentils, legumes, and beans can be incredible for you. Oh, I actually talk about legumes later on. I'm not including them in this conversation, but now I am for the purposes of this. Rachel says, Saka is wonderful. I'm glad that you make it and love it, Rachel. Oh, Marcy likes lentils. Hello, lentil doll. If you're not an NSKer, you might not be down with my greatest hits. I should probably, oh, Peggy, you're here. I'm glad you're here. I should probably make a little ebook here for everybody, or share some of NSK's greatest hits recipes. Saka and dal being two of the plant-based protein ones that tend to be universally loved. Kelly needs to understand more about plant protein. Great, Kelly. I love that you're noticing that instinct. Yeah, love beans. Great. So Kelly, you understand that you love them, and that's step one. Great. So we've got plenty of protein options. You want to put the names of the proteins that came up on your yes list under proteins, because guess what? Your yes list becomes your shopping list. Yes, please. Marcy, my entire family eats your lentil dal and asks for it regularly. That makes me so happy to hear, especially when there's little people that will eat it. My 12-year-old thinks it's gross. My little guy thinks it's great. It's goopy. It's comforting, right? Oh, and I would suggest, if it's not in the recipe, add some fresh lime in at the end with the cilantro. I think it just brightens the whole thing up. Sylvia loves her lentils. Excellent. I love to hear that. Yeah, lentils are like, most people love them, and then other people are like, oh, but I only eat them every once in a while. Try and bring them in twice a week. Definitely have yourself a vegan night at least once a week, Sylvia, and see how it feels to have lentils as that whole meal without the meat. Okay, moving on from protein, because protein's a pretty easy one. Kelly wants to understand more about plant protein. Yeah, the difference that you really understand, the difference between plant and animal, besides the fact that it's plant and animal, is that an animal protein is going to have all of the amino acids intact, all 22 or whatever it is of the amino acids, the building blocks of life, the protein, the muscle, the like part that protein builds us, repairs us, tissues and all. Guys, we need protein. We really need protein. And those of you that are vegan hate the whole, like, how do you get your protein question? It's possible to be plant-based and get enough protein for sure. You have to be a little bit more intentional about it, because you can't just eat the steak and get it all. The amino acids in the plant-based stuff, Kelly, are incomplete, meaning you have to combine them with other things to get the full picture. Rice and beans, the reason it's such a brilliant complete meal around the world is because between the rice and the beans, you make a complete protein. So it's those building blocks, those amino acids. Collagen has glycine and proline. Those are two of the amino acids that heal and seal the lining of the gut. That's what's in bone broth. Those amino acids actually repair the tissues in the body. You must have protein. Protein is like when someone comes to the hospital and they're malnourished, they're getting a feeding tube, and there's a balance of protein, carbs, and fat, but you got to have that protein to stay alive, okay? Sylvia got all excited about cilantro. Yes, yes, yes. You should be making lentil dal then. I'll post the recipe to this when we're done. Okay, we're moving on to veggies. We're moving on to veggies. We're moving on to veggies. Why do I put veggies second instead of starches, right? Some people think, okay, what's the meat? What's the rice? And what's the veggie? With the veggie as the side. Inside of the New School Kitchen, inside of Transformation, I want to encourage you to think of the vegetables first or second. I really do. I think of protein first still. It's such an important component for me. But the vegetables are next. And for me, it really is just protein and veg. I don't eat a lot of anything else. Fruit will happen separately from a meal as breakfast or as a snack, but the grains and the legumes are less important to me. Protein and veg is where it's at in terms of getting everything that I need. Everybody list me their favorite 3 veggies. You got to have at least 3 vegetables that you love. I'll go first. Cauliflower, and I have an entire huge head of it. It's about a week old, but it stays so good in the refrigerator waiting for me to cook up tonight. That's going to be my main event tonight. I think I'm going to put it in our new air fryer and maybe make some chimichurri to go on it. Yes, speaking of cilantro, a cilantro chimichurri, Sylvia, that I'll make. But cauliflower is one of mine. And then I really love collards. I think they're so underrated. Everybody gets caught on spinach and kale as the greens. If they have to do greens, I think collards are delightful. They're less green tasting to me than kale. They do not taste as green. And the way that I make them cut into ribbons just makes them so breakdownable and biteable. Broccoli, kale, and collards from Rachel. I love how yours are green. My little guy would say sweet potato is his favorite. I would probably put zucchini on my list. I really do enjoy it. Oh, carrot, zucchini, and cauliflower from the Beach Walking Mama. Hey, a little masala. I'm glad that you're here. We're talking about our favorite veggies at this point while we're filling out a yes list of the foods that we can eat. We are framing our eating in the positive. What are our yeses instead of what are our nos? Jen is beets, cucumbers, and spinach. Oh, I forgot about cucumbers. I really do love them. I just love them like quick pickled, like not even as a pickle yet, kind of just as a cucumber with a lot of vinegar on it, really crunchy. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower from Gina. Hi, Sam. Glad you're here. What are your favorite 3 veggies? Spinach and kale hurt my stomach, says Beach Walking Mama. So there's that listen to your body piece I was talking about earlier, right? And so Beach Walking Mama does not have those greens, spinach and kale, but she can find her yeses, right? She does have her yeses, cauliflower, zucchini, and carrots. Good. Maybe it's the oxalates in them. That's what I am learning about leafy greens. They're high in oxalates and not easily tolerated by everyone. Cucumbers, asparagus, and squash from Tara. I'm glad you're here. Peggy, Swiss chard. Ooh, totally underrated. Love me some chard. Brussels sprouts and cabbage. Yeah, I think I could put purple cabbage on my list of faves. Spinach from Sylvia. Good. I'm seeing so many green vegetables. Artichokes from Cindy. Ooh, I always forget about those. Brussels sprouts and spinach. How do you guys do your Brussels? Everyone is pumped about Brussels sprouts today. Then you must be excited about this fall weather because Brussels are coming into season, you guys. I think they're great in the air fryer. I think they're great in a skillet where they get caramelized. In fact, one of my favorite things to do with them is to cut the end off and then just shred them. Like cut them into like Brussels sprout, like cabbage, right? Like, what do you call it when cabbage is raw? Slaw. Brussels sprout slaw. And then I'll quickly fry that up in the skillet. It cooks up in 2 seconds with whatever my protein is. Brussels sprouts go good with every protein, whether it's salmon or chicken or beef or even pork. And yeah, they do a great job. Marcy roasts them and she also grates them raw. So you do make them like a slaw. I love that so much. I do have a raw recipe on my website. I don't digest the raw as well as I would like to. I truly love all veggies and I get stuck on staple veggies. I need to try and explore more. So I have a list of vegetables that I'm going to share with you guys. Facebookers, you're going to get this right now because I can do it right now. But I have a list of vegetables that I reference. It's inside my NSK app. For those of you that are my app users, it's in the kids section, the NS Kids section, because I use it to read to my kids when I'm making a grocery list. I can either read it out loud to them or I can put it on the fridge and say, go ahead, here's all the vegetables in the world, or all the ones that are like well-known and I can get at a grocery store. Here they are. I'm putting the link in on the Facebook group. And you go ahead and pick which ones are you open to this week. And I will say my kids just get stuck on like romaine, cucumbers, radish, you know, the same few that they eat over and over again, broccoli. And that's fine. They're picking them. They're empowered. Some weeks I get kind of mean, mommy, and I'm like, nope, you got to pick a vegetable that's not on the list. But I can't invent new vegetables. People come to me and they're like, well, I don't like vegetables. What do I do? What do I eat? I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Talk about being a no mindset. I don't like that. I don't eat that. My kids don't like that. My husband doesn't like that. First of all, if someone is coming to me like that, they're probably not going to end up one of my clients. You have to be open to receiving the new. This is the yes energy. Guys, are you burnt out on the same 3 fucking vegetables? Then look at the vegetable list, Google list of vegetables, and choose something else. I just dropped an F-bomb. I apologize. And I lost a viewer on Facebook. I wonder if they were in front of kids. I apologize. Trying to work on my choices with language. Whoever left, sorry. Yes, Gabe is here. I am working right now for the weekend, and I am talking about veggies. Gabe, I bet you're stuck on the same few veggies. Peggy loves them made into a slaw. Yeah, it's not just cabbage that makes a slaw, guys. You can shred up anything and put it in there and put your dressing on it and eat some raw veg. I need you to expand your yes list. Cindy likes hers with a little bit of bacon. Hell yeah. Cast iron skillet with bacon, roasted in the oven. You guys got super pumped about the Brussels sprouts. I want to see all your Brussels sprout pictures, please. And inside of Transformation, I have a feeling that's going to be the food of the program this year. Peggy says sometimes it's how you cook them that makes you not like them. Does anybody agree? Does anybody agree with that? Yes, change the way you're making it, you guys. Stop getting stuck. Like if you hate Brussels sprouts, your mom probably made them for you steamed in a pot or boiled, right? Over-boiled Brussels sprouts. That sounds pretty revolting to me. Change it up. So I want you to write your veggies in the veggie category. I heard so many low-carb veggies here. I did call you fat, Gabe, and it was in the most loving sense of the word. And I'm deeply apologetic for that. Are you here so that we can make up and make this better? I apologize. You're not fat, but do you probably need more veggies? Do you need more veggies? I bet you do. Clean up your act, guys. There's a dirty dozen and a clean 15. If you're buying your dirty dozen veggies dirty every time, you might be getting more pesticides than nutrients. I talk about this in the quality food section inside of Transformation, but eat vegetables before you panic about vegetables and pesticides and organic or not. Oh, and it wasn't. If someone says it wasn't organic, so I didn't buy it at all and I ate chips instead, no. Eat the veggie instead. Give it a good wash. Radishes, Marcy's excited about. Lime juice and cilantro are both good in a slaw. Hell yeah. I love you. You guys like vegetables. I'm getting that impression from this crew. You like vegetables, yes? Tara did a pukey icon, probably because I was talking about boiled Brussels sprouts. We picked a lot of low carb ones. What are the higher carb vegetables that might be okay for you to choose as well, or that are okay for you to choose? We often get in this real food mindset, this diet mindset, this I'm going to start fresh mindset, and it's like just the green ones. And I love that you guys focus on the greens, and I want to encourage you to add microgreens to your list. Totally underrated here, way to get your nutrients, yes? What are the starchy veggies? Give me some of those. Hi, Allison. Glad you're here. We're talking about saying yes to vegetables. What are your yeses with vegetables? Everyone listed all these low-carb veggies, and I'm saying, guys, make yourself some darn sweet potatoes, please, if you want to avoid the bread. We do this thing where we get so restrictive. Remember, I've been talking about this the last 2 days, that we end up eating the crap. What if we got sort of restricted and allowed ourselves sweet potatoes? Yeah, white potatoes. Dawn says, my son doesn't like anything green that's a vegetable. Don't let it hold you back, girl. Let him watch you eating it. Guess what? My kids don't like most vegetables either. They're coming around because I'm not going to cater to that taste. I have a whole thing inside the NSK app about feeding kids. I know it's tough. I know they get picky. Don't stop presenting it, because then he's essentially gotten to win. I mean, he's essentially said, like, whatever my preference is what my mother will serve me. And I like to feed my kids what they like. And about 2 days a week, I put something in front of them that I know they're going to go like, because they got to get used to the fact that the world doesn't revolve around them when it comes to food. And they got to get used to the fact that there's going to be vegetables on their plate in real life. And they got to eat them. So that's just my O2, but you know your kid and your vibe better. Oftentimes, the big mistake I see moms making is if other people in the house don't like the vegetable, they just stop buying it. And then they'll be like, oh, that's my favorite, right? I miss it so much. And I'm like, it's okay to make it for you, girl. In fact, more for you if those dum-dums don't want any of it. Don't stop eating nutrient-dense real food just because people in your house turn their nose up at it. Yeah? Good. Butternut squash for Peggy. Acorn squash. Love potato, says Allison. Delicata. She discovered it during the last round of Transformation, probably because I was making it and oohing and eyeing over it. Delicata is that long, small, like squatty little squash. It's yellow with green lines on it. It's amazing. You can eat the skin. Peggy, I do like butternut, but I gotta say, you can't eat the skin of butternut, right? It's like too tough and chewy. Delicata, acorn, curry, and kabocha squash all win in my book because you can eat the skin once you roast it. Okay, corn, parsnips. Tara said my favorite starchy veg that everybody forgets about. I love parsnips. Cut them thin into coins, Tara, and fry them in your skillet with some ghee. OMG, it's really good. Lots of sweet potato lovers here. Great, great, great. Look, guys, your starches are important. Starches provide a lot of prebiotics. They feed the good bacteria in your body, as well as the kale and the celery does this too, but we need the resistant starch in the body. Don't go too low carb. Somebody asked yesterday, I forget who it was, she tried to eat a lot more protein and she went low carb and stopped eating the starches and stuff, and she started losing her hair. Like, it can be way too stressful on the body to go super duper low carb, honestly. If you have adrenal fatigue or any hormone issues, I actually don't suggest it. But so eat your potatoes. Eat your potatoes. Last night I had crispy white potatoes out of the air fryer with buttery broccoli and my grass-fed steak. And I'm like, I am a happy girl. When people say, oh, my husband's a meat and potato guy, what do I do about that? I'm like, well, upgrade the meat to grass-fed, cook the potatoes in a clean oil, and get some green vegetable on the plate, and it's really not a bad situation. Okay. Delicata pasta with veggies. Oh, added delicata squash to pasta. That sounds like a really yummy combination. Yeah, fine. Some gluten-free pasta with some veggies, maybe like some chopped chicken in there too to get a little bit of protein and balance it out. Or chickpeas if you want to go, with the animal protein. Okay, fill out your veggies, your plant, and your starches. You need them both. And let's move on to fruit. This is an easy one, but can we just take a moment to celebrate all the yeses with fruit that we often have? I actually do have some no's with fruit. There are some fruits that make me feel bad. I straight up have like an asthma attack when I eat a banana. It's a histamine thing for me. It tightens my chest. Bananas are high in histamines. It just don't work for me. That is very sad, but I also choose not to focus on that no because I have mango. I have mango, and mango is the darling of the fruit world. In fact, I would call mango king of fruits. What would you call the king of fruits? Or we're mostly women here. Sorry, Gabe. What's the queen of fruits in your house? Kelly wants to know more about the air fryer. Yeah. Make sure you're in my other free group. So this group that you guys are in right now, the Facebook group, the Design Your Diet Challenge, this is a pop-up group. This is going to close when Transformation opens. So if you're loving all of this exchange and energy and time with me, that's what you get inside Transformation. It will not continue once the doors close on Transformation. But I do have a free group that's open all the time. And I recently posted about different air fryers in there, Kelly, and there's a lot of people in there that use the air fryer. It can be really helpful. It's just convection heat, but it gets things crispy. And I think it works great for plug and play, which is the cooking method I'll be showing you on Friday. Strawberries, blueberries, dark, sweet cherries. Yeah, cherry season. Cherries are like making intimate love for me. Like, that is just, there's a reason that cherries are equated with like sexual like energy, right? It's just like, with that juiciness. A nectarine for me. So up there high with a mango is a completely beautifully ripe nectarine. That's just enough to send me into eyes rolled back into my head. Food orgasm heaven. What is your version of a nectarine? Let's see, blueberries, peaches, papaya. I have a papaya in the fridge. It's not my favorite one. Who said papaya sherry? It's not my favorite, but I'm determined to give it a try, or at least put it in a smoothie because it's so amazing for digestion. So amazing. Is avocado a fruit? Dawn asks. Let's ask. What are the fruits that we might be putting in the veggie category? Tomatoes is one of them. Can I just talk about how much I love the little yellow round cherry tomatoes? The yellow ones. Those are a fruit. Fruits have seeds. And vegetables, a lot of vegetables do too. Fruits have a pit, can we say? We have bred a lot of pits and seeds out of fruits, though, so it's difficult to use that as a marker. Is avocado a fruit? Somebody wants to know. You are correct, Dawn. It is a fruit, technically. Not the sweetest one on the planet, though, is it? Peggy says she's working on not fearing the sugar in fruits. Does anybody else feel afraid of fruits? They feel like that's too sugary, I have candida, I shouldn't feed that, or I'm low carb, I shouldn't eat that. And if your body is telling you, hey, this fruit's not working for me, that's one thing. One thing I learned recently, Peggy, and this is on the episode, the podcast episode with Jill Hari, the Ayurveda practitioner, is to eat fruit alone. That may be a new way to try it. If your body didn't like fruit one way, maybe you were having like grilled nectarines with your steak and you were like, oh, that didn't work. Eat it by itself. There's a food combining theory or practice in the Ayurvedic world that says fruit should not be combined with other foods. And I've been practicing it and I like it. I really enjoy fruit as a way to break my fast in the morning before I would say eat my steak and veggies like I did this morning. But yeah, great, great, great. So many fruits. Allison says, no, I'm not scared of fruit. I would rather have fruit sugar than Oreos. Does anybody agree? And this is what I constantly see with the low carbers. They take out all of the nutrient dense foods that have sugars like sweet potatoes and apples and bananas. And then 4 days into keto, they binge on Oreos, right? And it's like, would it have gone better? Would you have lasted if you chose some grapes cold out of the freezer as your treat instead of the Oreos or the ice cream? Yeah. Brittany says, and never with dairy. So she understands that food combining thing. Yeah, fruit and dairy not going well together. In fact, I don't think dairy goes well with too many things when we talk about food combining. The little easy peel oranges for my kids, Allison says, and I love pineapple. I'm right there with you, girl. And it's not hard to chop it up yourself if you guys are buying it super expensive, broken down for you. Beach Walking Mama says, I crave savory in the morning, but after every meal I want a sweet. Does anybody else experience that? How do you get your head around that, girl? How do you resolve that? Talk to us. While we move on to nuts and seeds. Some of you mentioned nuts and seeds in the protein category, and yes, we can't completely separate nuts from protein because they have protein, but I will say nuts are a pretty good balance of protein, fat, and carb. They've got all three, probably carb in the least, but they do have some, and they have a good amount of those healthy fats, usually monounsaturated fats. I think, is it monounsaturated in nuts? Walnuts? Walnuts are super good for your brains that you do want. Sadly, nuts make my guts swell up and tight. I think it's the oxalates in it. There's definitely a lot of compounds in nuts that are hard to digest. But for those of you that can work with nuts, I'm jealous, and put them on your dang real food menu. Yeah, Beach Walking Mama's honest. I try to have fruit, but sometimes I end up looking for chocolate. And you know what? You might need to make some NSK 3-ingredient fudge and have that chocolate on hand that's made with maple syrup instead of refined sugar, and not feel bad about the fact that you want chocolate, because cacao is a beautiful thing. Also, it might mean that you're magnesium deficient, you know, if you're super cravey for chocolate. Gabe loves raw pistachio nuts. Hell yes, we're right there with you in this house. That salty pistachio nut, or you're eating them raw, that's amazing. They might not even be salty yet. Crunchy. And you know what? There's something like, it keeps your hands busy to open the nuts, right? It's like something to do to give you a little snacky snack. Good. You guys like nuts. Nuts. Make a granola. Roast them. We take pecans. We buy huge bags of pecans at the grocery store, and we toss them with coconut oil and maple syrup and cinnamon and a little bit of sea salt, and they bake in the oven for 12 minutes. This is another NSK recipe. You can get it on the app or the website, and they become maple pecans. That's like bribery in this house for my preschooler. Right? Want some sticky mapley sweet pecans? Great. And maybe that will suffice as that after dinner treat for some of you. Cashews. Yeah, cashews. Oh, so good. Raw versus roasted. What do you guys think on the nuts? Buy them raw, Kelly, and roast them yourself. Typically, if you're getting them dry roasted from the store, they're probably okay. But typically when you're buying them roasted, they're tossing them in those high inflammatory oils and then roasting them. You don't need those shitty oils. I'm trying not to curse. Peggy loves to throw hemp seeds on things and use hemp and nuts to make milk. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Let's put hemp hearts and chia seeds on our nuts and seeds list. Anybody use flax seeds? Right? Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, add all of those to the list here of ways that you can enjoy nutrient-dense real foods. Anybody making a chia pudding? Like, that is just the easiest thing to me. If you miss yogurt, if you wish you had like a creamy treat, make some chia puddings, put some maple syrup. Good. I eat homemade granola and eat it in the morning. Maybe try without oats. Yeah, Kelly, you're going to have to, it sounds like you're in the process of figuring out what works in your body and what doesn't. And separating out nuts and grains might be a way for you to start. You can make a granola without oats. You can make a granola with nuts and seeds and coconut. I mean, paleo granola, right? Gabe says homeschooling blows. Are your kids running around right now, Gabe, making you crazy? And you're like, Dad's doing his own homeschooling. I'm figuring out how to improve my diet so I don't murder you. Yeah, I'm super glad you're here. You know what? What you're doing right now, if anybody's doing virtual schooling, that's not homeschooling. That's not what I do with my kids. Homeschooling is my kid's at the chiropractor and then he's at the park and then he's going to do probably an hour of homework because he goes to class 2 days a week in front of the computer or in front of a teacher. Pumpkin seeds, chia pudding, cacao nibs. Ooh, cacao nibs. Yes, please. Can we put those on the, moving on to the, oops, last one on this line, intact grains and legumes. I want to come back to cacao nibs. Will you remind me, Allison? Because those belong in the superfood category. What is on your intact grains list? We talked about legumes earlier, and I've separated them on this list from proteins, but you can put them in whatever category you want while we focus on your yeses today. Allison says homeschool sucks at the moment. Yeah, we can all commiserate about how much it sucks, for sure, to have kids at home all the time. The library around the corner from me is still closed. It has a children's section. It has books. Like, the resources available to me as a homeschooler are not even available. So this is not a real, this quarantine version of schooling kids at home is not a real representation of homeschooling. Yeah, virtual, get it. If I had to get my kid to sit in front of a screen for like 6 hours a day, I would not be doing well right now. Nope. I practice unschooling. And maybe your kid will get into Yale and my kid won't, but I'm cool with that. Okay, do oats go in intact grains? Yeah, and Marcy agrees, virtual school is not the same as homeschool. Yeah, I don't, when people say to me like, homeschooling sucks right now, how do you do this? I'm like, oh, what you're doing and what I'm doing is completely different things. Is oatmeal bad for you? Does somebody want to answer Sylvia's question? Is oatmeal bad for you? I'm so glad you're asking questions like this, Sylvia. So let's talk about grains for a second, okay? Because oatmeal is a question in Instagram too. I want to talk about grains. I don't want to crap on grains, but I want to say we emphasize them way too much in our eating. We revolve around the grain, the rice, the oats, the bread, the cracker. The bread is a good vehicle. The oatmeal is very filling in the morning, right, Sylvia? What a great breakfast for filling you up and not having to like cook much or do much. Oats are just in the pot, and you can even cook a whole pot of them in advance, the steel cut oats, and scoop them out every morning, put it in the microwave, and add your superfoods to the top and go. Oatmeal might not be bad for you, Sylvia. It also might not be good for you. The intact grains is so individualized. First thing with intact grains is let's de-emphasize them. Make vegetables more important than grains. That's step one. Over and over again, people say to me they want to get healthy and they have their whole wheat bread or their gluten-free bread, and then they eat their oats, and then they have their rice with their dinner. Like, what if you could replace grains with vegetables? There's a whole video on this in Transformation, how to replace grains with vegetables so you're getting more nutrient density. I'd rather you eat the sweet potato with your broccoli and steak than rice with your broccoli and steak. Rice is a beautiful thing. Sylvia's in South America. That's like staple food, right? Fine. And for some people with gut stuff, if you have digestive issues, if you get gurgly during the day, if you have bloating, you may want to choose, Sylvia, for 8 weeks, even 30 days, to take grains out and just focus on veggies, fruits, proteins, nuts, seeds. Make sense? Is anybody grain-free in here? A lot of people I end up working with end up grain-free. I hate to say it. If you have chronic illness you're healing, the grains aren't doing you too many favors. But man, oatmeal is a beautiful thing, isn't it? I miss it. And honestly, one of the things I want to do is heal enough to be able to enjoy some grains as a treat on occasion. Okay, so moving on. Cooking staples, superfoods, bottom corner. What do we got here? We're 10 minutes away from our ending time. Thank you for hanging out. What are the cooking staples you need? Now that's a small little area I've given you for cooking staples, and I have a whole PDF inside the app of what the cooking staples should be, right? Olive oil, avocado oil, all of your spices, what you need to have on hand, coconut aminos, mustard, salt and pepper. Maybe you've got a whole fridge full of real food condiments that work for you, like sauerkraut and pickles, properly fermented pickles. Lots of cooking staples, pantry staples, and superfoods. What's your favorite? For some reason, I just thought of goji berries. Miles has been real into raisins lately. So what if I could get him on some goji berries? That has really good nutritional value as a superfood. Kelsey says she loves her ghee. I'm right there with you, especially if you miss dairy. Ooh, Sylvia, turmeric. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, one of nature's most potent anti-inflammatories. You could be sprinkling that on so many things. When you use it, Sylvia, make sure you give it a grind of black pepper with it. It increases the effectiveness of the turmeric and the anti-inflammatory compounds. The curcumin, yes, you do your reading. I can tell. Maple syrup and coconut sugar. Allison keeps on hand for treats. Great job. Yes, yes, yes. There's plenty of NSK approved recipes where you can make delicious treats with natural sweeteners. If you are looking to get rid of sugar, you need to have maple syrup, raw honey, and coconut sugar in the pantry to work with. And you're just making your own treats with those things. And it's not hard. 3-ingredient fudge, coconut oil, sweetener, and cacao. And it hardens in the freezer. Some people call it freezer fudge. Hi, Sherry, I'm glad you're here. We're filling out our yes list. For those of us that have restrictions, we're not focusing on what we can't eat or what we're choosing not to eat. We're focusing on our yeses, what we can have, what works in our bodies right now. And we're on superfoods. Anybody else have any superfoods that they want to put on their list? Oh, coconut manna. I love this so much. I'm going to show it to you guys. And maybe I'll get a spoon and eat it in front of you. Coconut manna is keeping me, oh crap, alive right now. Is anybody buying this? This is going to suck for the listening afterwards on the podcast. It's like just blank space. Is anybody buying this? This is they call it coconut butter or coconut manna. It's the flesh of the coconut. Oh my gosh. And it's like it's better when it's hard and I have to like scrape it. It's the flesh of the coconut and it's just like as if it's like peanut butter, except it's coconut butter. It is so sweet. I mean, eat off the spoon. I have a recipe that uses it mixed with lemon to make power balls. Oh my gosh, it keeps me alive when I'm trying to get through. Ghee is overpowering to Allison. Yeah, so it doesn't work for you. That's fine. It's very buttery. It's like all of the compounds that make butter buttery. What about stevia, Lee says? What do you guys think about stevia? Beach Walker Mama, I lean on oat creamer for coffee, but I'm worrying that the carbs are spiking sugar. So what's in the oat creamer? You know? Can you replace that with like full fat coconut milk from the can? That's one ingredient. Your oat creamer's a lot. I bet it tastes good. But how many sugars are in your oat creamer? I'm just going to eat this in front of you. High antioxidants in the goji berries. Great. So I would consider coconut a superfood if it works in your body. I'm just going to eat one more bite. What about stevia? I think it's fine, Lee. I don't like it personally. I find it, I mean, most of us are using too much of it, right? I know it's highly, highly concentrated. I think it's fine. It's a low glycemic. I mean, there's no caloric impact. There's some research that suggests that having the like diet sweeteners, like Splenda, having the taste of sweet, but not having it backed by calories makes you go search for more sweet. But you have to take it and decide if that's the case for you. Monk fruit is a big one. That's low glycemic that people talk about. And then there's some low carbs. Lakanto Lakanto sugar or something. I don't know. Here's my thing. I'm all about real food. I do like to sweeten with maple syrup. I get that there's carbs associated with that. But if that low carb thing is throwing you into deprivation, I just had a client who went so low carb that she is fully back reverting to things she was doing in high school, weighing herself every morning, unhealthy patterning, starving herself all day, and binging all night. Of course, I will not share a name on anyone ever, and I'm only sharing this with you guys to let you know that when we get too restrictive, it can throw us into very unhealthy patterning. That might not be the case for everyone. Dawn says, what are you eating? I think to stop. Coconut manna, coconut butter. Allison says, I need to run down things that taste like coconut and those that don't. Yeah. Stevia. She thought it was pronounced stevia. Is it? Is it stevia or stevia? This has devolved into chaos. All right, I'm not answering any more questions because I only have a few more minutes, but answer each other questions. Last one. Don't fill it out. Liquid gold. We're going to fill that one out tomorrow. Leave it blank because we're going to have a blast talking about liquids. I actually do have a few minutes then. What are the questions? Yes. Lots of coconutty things. Look, if it's refined coconut oil, it doesn't taste as coconutty. What other questions do you have? I am going to answer questions. This is the most chaotic live I've ever done, and I've just devolved into eating while staring at the camera. It's like giving me a lift to get through until my next meal. Okay, if the coconut is refined, Allison, refined coconut oil is not going to have a strong coconut flavor, but it's also not going to have the beneficial compounds of coconut. Make sense? If you don't like the taste of coconut, screw it. There's far too many real foods in this world for us to freak out and bang our heads against the wall and say, I have to figure out how to like this real food. You don't. You can. I invite you to. But some people just don't like certain flavors and I don't know. Let it go then. Find something else. Hi, CCG. That's Cassandra. Hi, I'm glad you're here. We're talking about a yes list. So here's how I want to wrap this up, guys. Here's how I want to wrap this yes list up. You have some ideas now. You filled it out. What's on your yes list for this 8-week protocol that we're doing starting October 5th, right? Whether you join me inside of Transformation or not, visit the link in my bio on Instagram to check out the details of Transformation, or check out the link here right in the Facebook group if you want to get on the wait list. The cart opens tomorrow. I only let 30 people in. The first 3 get a pretty awesome prize, and there will be bonuses released all week long while the cart is open. So lots of goodness coming your way. But whether you join me for that or whether you do your protocol on your own, the whole point of this design your diet thing that I'm doing is for you to get intentional about what your yeses are for 8 weeks, October 5th through to Thanksgiving. And it doesn't mean that if on week 2, you ate some maple syrup instead of stevia in your coffee, and that sent you down into a binge where you ended the day with Oreos and you hate yourself for it, that you screwed up and it's over. This is the welcome video for Transformation, is about how to show up for the 8 weeks so that you see it through. Not perfectly, because that's boring. I don't know. The perfect girl in school wasn't me, and certainly wasn't the girl I wanted to be best friends with. I wanted to be friends with the person who was imperfectly showing up every day, doing her best, even if it meant she tripped and fell on the way to the, to the chalkboard and embarrassed herself. In fact, that girl was me. That imperfect girl was me. And I'm still imperfect, stumbling through my yes list, but showing up intentionally. That's the thing I want you to take away today. Showing up intentionally inside of that yes. What are you taking away today? What's one thing you heard me say that's resonating around this yes concept? Or one food you heard me talk about that you're like, hell yeah, I just got some more options at dinner and I'm pumped. Thanks, Rye. Being intentional is everything. That's why having support and joining a program works. That's why hiring a coach works. That's why partnering with a friend to change your eating works. It doesn't matter how you do it.
but you choose it, you define a period of time around it, and then you show up with a yes energy for the work of it. Tell me what you're taking away. I gotta log off on Instagram in 52 seconds. They cut you off at an hour. Hi, Julie. I hope you can watch the replay. I'm just basically eating coconut manna through the last whole third of it, and I can't stop because I'm actually hungry. It's lunchtime. Seriously, Marcy says, saying yes. That's her takeaway. Great. That is the mindset. Remember, the law of attraction is not magic. It's science. Show up as a yes, and you will attract more yeses. Stand firmly in your hell yes of becoming well, and you will become well. If you want to focus on all the stuff that hurts on your body, you're going to get a whole lot more awareness of that. So yes, yes, yes to life, yes to your food list, and yes to your health. I'm so thankful that you were here today. I appreciate you. Instagram says you're done. Wouldn't let me save. And Facebook, I appreciate you. Tara's got some plant protein options. Kelly says, thank you for this. Excellent. I'm glad you're inspired. Come back tomorrow. We're only halfway there. A lot more goodness for you guys. Thank you for being part of this challenge. Love you. Glad you're here, Sylvia.